You form Sun Advisors to help business owners.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit more exactly how you help people.
Sure. One of the reasons that I formed this company, because I come most recently out of the transaction side, being a business broker and intermediary for selling businesses to the marketplace.
Right.
And I was in so many meetings where I realized that, first of all, the opportunity for all owners isn't to go to the market. Only a percentage are going to sell
Okay.
or want to sell.
Right.
The market conditions have to be appropriate, and the the seller owner has to have the right psychology and attitude and being succession ready emotionally. So I was unable to really help them in a lot if those arrows weren't all lined up. But being a business owner myself and being through many life transitions myself, I really identify with there are so many other things I want to help them with and be thinking about. And so Sun Exit Advisors became that entity where I can come alongside in more of a consultative role from an earlier point. Instead of when do you want to sell your business, Friday is kind of a joke.
Right.
Into being able to show them there's a lot of other ways.
But you were saying about a third of the businesses sell, about a third of them transition kind of within the family,
Correct.
or
Insider transition, either to employee or to a family. 20% sell to a co-owner, or key employee group, and about 15, maybe 20% actually just wind down.
So you looked at it and said you were in the business broker business, but of this whole totality of all the businesses out there, there are only about a third of them were actually selling. So how can you help that other 2/3 of people who obviously need to understand the value?
Yes, and a demographic that many are familiar with in the wealth management area and in the business sector is the baby boomers, of which I am one, own about 80% of the privately held companies in the United States.
Oh, okay.
So, and we've talked about the fact about 90% of the business owners don't have a plan. So you have this incredible bulge of owners that if within the next 5 to 10, maybe 15 years, but certainly in the next decade, are going to be facing a transition of some kind. And if they're sitting here at this point without a plan, there's going to be a lot of confusion out there by a number of people. And frankly, the best companies that will, if they're going to go to the market, they're going to have a lot of competition if there's a lot of owners that are wanting to get out. So what firms will be the most saleable? What firms will be the healthiest to be succeeded by the son or daughter are those that have put in some of these systems, developed insurance programs that are going to cover them in case of contingency. Shelter tax, we haven't gotten into so many of the technical sides of exit planning, but I work with advisors on all kind of a full circle.
Right, we were talking about how, Ted doesn't do everything and doesn't answer any question on his own, but really you're kind of the organizer or the coach. How would you characterize your role in this?
I quarterback it.
Okay.
I think is a good role. Another analogy that I use is a primary care physician. If you go to them initially, maybe just for a physical, not because you're ill, and they run tests and they make sure that everything's okay. And if I'm that person for a business owner, I'm going to identify areas that could really use some significant advice in either tax or law or insurance, or a business coach could maybe come in and help with goals, or a banker in terms of their credit line. So I recommend specialists if they don't already have one in place, and many do. But in either case, I coordinate it so that there's a synergistic planning process done. The owner doesn't have to one-off with his CPA, and then maybe 30 days later he met with his attorney who mentioned something about you ought to think about an estate plan that may have conflicted a little bit what the CPA's advice was. And the insurance broker 2 months later comes in and says you really should have some more life insurance because, if you pass away, so forth and so on. All of those things tend to make, and did me, an owner kind of just back away from the whole thing.
So we were talking before the show about the need to have a independent person who you can talk to. Somebody like Ted is a good independent person who understands the different specialists and can help you through that. Well, I wanted to thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.